So I'll start the recording and I'll share it with the rest of the group. We'll start with the very brief revision. We'll go through the important math notions. And good news, you won't have to create anything. There is a book for grade 3, and you will have to look through the book, to compare it to the British book, to decide what is good and what is bad, because there will be some things that are not relevant for grade 3. But you will look through the book and you will decide in groups what is good and what is bad. And you will develop a couple of tasks, but not really many, because again, it's summer and we are still working hard. So let's look first at the topics. I hope you recognize some topics easily already. And that is what we have with math topics from grades 1 to 3. So you remember in the 2nd grade, we did counting backward, forward, increasing, decreasing order, and skip counting. And here we have a new notion, which is rounding. So rounding means округлити. So, and we'll talk about rounding a bit later, but can you please tell me, how do you think why rounding is important? Why do they practice rounding all over again, like rounding is everywhere, starting with the 3rd grade? Why?
So as I remember, rounding in our program begins at 5th form. Yes, at 5th form.
With the Brits, it's even the 2nd form, and they do rounding all the time. Why?
I think that this task is to feel and to count after tenths.
Absolutely, it makes counting easier if we can round. Yeah, so we can count easier. Like when we count in our heads, we usually round. We don't say the exact numbers. Yeah, we round. So remember, rounding is number 1. So then we do place value, and now place value is already thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. And imagine what is important. Just yesterday I talked to Anya. Anya teaches math for interclass, and she said, you know, I know what place value is for when we talk about Roman numerals, because Roman numerals really help us to practice place value. It's just in Arabic numbers, we'll have 1, 9, like 1985, for example, it will be 1985. But in Roman numerals, to understand that it's 1,000, you need to understand the letter. So this is an important moment, and we'll go back to it. Then number boards are still with us. Addition, subtraction is here. Comparison, measurements. We'll just put special attention to measurements. So then shapes, but now shapes from 2D shapes turn into 3D shapes. Then we had lots of multiplication in the 2nd grade. And remember, we even talked about it, that in the 3rd grade, we can do more division, because now they are ready for division. Ordinal numbers will turn into fractions, like 1, second, or 1/2, 1/3, 1/4, or 1/4, and so on. And a couple of words I'll tell about the word puzzles. Okay, so let's start. Sorry. Sorry. So, and we'll start with rounding. Let me, okay. So, when we round, what do we do? Actually, all rounding is here. Yeah, we may round down to 30, or we may round up to 40. For example, if we have 34, we round it down to 30. If we have 35, we round it up to 40. Here is the answer why, like here is one of the examples of rounding. This is from Salamander Math. And here the rounding is, when we have 36, we round it to the nearest 40. Yeah? 73 is 70, 45 is 50, because it's already that side, 44 is 60, and so on and so forth. Rounding is easy for adults, for us, but rounding is not easy for the kids. And as soon as we start doing rounding, we'll do step 2 in mental math, because when we have rounding, we do rounding for subtracting, and we do rounding for addition. Like, for example, here, 89 minus 11, the same as 90 minus 10. We round one number, we round the other number, and we get the answer. Like rounding, you remember, we started this year, and we won't be very serious about it, but we can place it into this part of warming up activities, into counting. Okay, so next important object or subject or topic which we really never practice in Ukrainian schools are Roman numerals. Yesterday we were talking with Anya about why British schools practice Roman numerals so much, and I really don't have any idea. My only idea is that probably it just develops your cultural background when you can read the numbers on the museums or doors, or just, I don't know where you can find these numbers, but you really can. Yeah? So what we can do with Roman numerals, we can think of ones, tens, hundreds, and thousands. And interestingly, this is the moment of the junction. This is the moment when Roman numerals help us understand the place value. Yeah? So we can see that using this Roman numerals, we can talk about thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. Okay, so another new topic which will start this year with the 3rd grade are fractions. And again, my and Anya's idea is that we need to pay more attention to the vocabulary of the math operations. Like if we talk about a fraction, it's good to introduce the vocabulary, and the vocabulary will be a numerator and a denominator, a bar, like a fraction bar, And we can also talk about a part and a whole. Because, and you see even here, there are some interesting moments like D, denominator, and D is the down number. So, and there are different ways of representing the fraction. Also, they talk about the words like halves, which is 1 second, thirds, fourths, which also can be a quarter. Yeah? We see it in timing, and so on and so forth. So when we think about fractions, we need to start with the vocabulary. Vocabulary is important. And here I tried to put some important vocabulary. It's half, 1/3, quarter, and then it will be already 1/5, 1/6, 1/8. That is, remember, that is where we need ordinary numbers. So, and that is where we can practice them. So in the book, you will find this wonderful tasks for fractions. They are from Salamander Math, and I find them adorable because there is a number of butterflies, and we will say that there are, for example, how many butterflies are orange? 4 out of 7, and it brings us to the idea that this is 4/7. Yeah? Then we talk about blue butterflies, then we talk about white butterflies, and that is how we give our kids the idea of this very simple fractions. The same happens to fruits, and like, again, we have this category word fruit, and we have apples, pears, bananas. So, and this is how we get the idea of fractions. Okay, my question now is to you. How well do you remember fractions? Yeah, and I look at your face and I understand that that's not your favorite topic, yeah?
It's philosophical question.
Actually, there are many math operations with fractions, but for the kids, fractions are difficult. Just give me a second. Алло, Паша, у меня сейчас тренинг, я перезвоню через полчасика, хорошо? So, and again, like what Anya thinks about it, because I take Anya's expertise for granted, and she says that for grade 3, we shouldn't do many math operations with fractions. Like the only thing we can do is to give the idea of equivalent fractions, meaning that different fractions have the same value. Actually, it's about multiplication, like 1 second or 1/2 is the same as 3/6, and 2/4 is the same as 4/8. It's about multiplication, but Anya says that kids don't really understand this idea of multiplication. For them, it's more about visualizing the fraction. If they can visualize the fraction and they get this equivalent, they will easier get the idea of equivalent fractions. So grade 3, only equivalent fractions, and that will do for understanding many things connected with the division of whole into parts. Also, again, hello, we have multiplication and division. only remember, we talked with you about this, that this year we can focus more on division. So, and we can practice the vocabulary, which is about dividend, and that's from where we have dividends in banking system. So when we get dividends from somewhere, so a divisor, divide, and we also have a quotient or a quote, like a part of something. When you look at the way of how Brits write down their division problems, you will be a bit surprised, because the division problem looks like this. It's like we divide 20 by 4 and we get 5. We have a different idea of division, no? Yeah? So, but in the worksheets, you will see the division like this. When we talk about, after we have talked about the division, we go back to our shapes, to equilaterals, because last time we talked about the shapes that have equal sides, where the sides are the same. And for the shapes of equal sides, the tasks may be based on multiplication, when we have one side and we have to multiply, but this is a difficult task, and on division, when we have the perimeter and we have to decide how much one side is. Yeah, so like if the perimeter is 30 meters, then we have to divide 30 by 5 and we'll get 6. And the final topic here in the 3rd grade will be 3D shapes. I still don't know how to fit the 3D shapes into the vocabulary, because they are easy if we compare them to 2D shapes. But also when we talk about 3D shapes, we talk about the vocabulary of faces, the surfaces, we talk about the edges, and we talk about the vertices. So like all this vocabulary can be useful for counting and for comparing shapes to other shapes, but friendly speaking, I have no idea where we can really use 3D shapes in the 3rd grade. So let's leave this knowledge, let's know that it exists, and probably we'll find out together where we can fit the 3D shapes in. So, and here is the example of warming up activities, like mental math. Imagine what kids of the 3rd grade should be able to do mentally, like without special, without the cell phone, without the calculator, just mentally. Yeah. So for addition, what do we need? 19 plus 19.
Rounding and then
absolutely perfect. Yeah. So this is where we need rounding, because you see that most of the additions they require rounding. Yeah? So then this understanding of half, half between 70 and 80, which is 5. So then value, meaning place value. How many sides does a square have? Which I just mentioned. We have the shapes, and now they just give us the number of sides, and this number of sides will be useful then for division and for multiplication. Then write equals more or less, yeah? So it's comparison. Then here mentally they have to count what is this. We probably won't do decimals. Ми не будемо робити ще десятичні оці всі величини, because that will be difficult, first of all, for us. And how many 6 make 24? It's about the division. So you see that this mental math is what can be done mentally. Оце те, що називається ментальна арифметика. Yeah? So this is, or these are the operations that kids have to be able to do mentally. And I also have another example. Again, mostly it's about rounding, and mental math is based on rounding and subtraction, subtraction, subtraction. And in salamander math, this is the rounding from salamander math. I also loved it. Like, write down the number 4016. It's already a different operation. Yeah? You read and you write down the number. So then how many tenths? Round, half, like always dividing by 2, meaning half, subtract, perimeter, so numbers which actually are place values. Yeah? So simple division, clock time, and here we haven't talked about the remainder. Lots of tasks even in grade 2 will be about the remainder. So like if we divide 22 by 5, we have 2 and, or we have, sorry, 4, and we have 2 as the remainder. Like a static. Yeah? So then we'll have here the time, or they are called time elapsed problems, then meters in kilometers, then again temperature, then this is difficult, and I'm a square with side length 4 centimeters. What's my area? Again, I don't think we'll do area this year. We'll probably do area next year, but maybe. And the importance of measurements, we already talked about them, and there will be lots of measurements in the 3rd grade. And finally, the example of the word problem. This is the word problem created by Anna Viktorovna, our teacher, and this is a typical word problem for the 3rd grade of a Ukrainian school. Yeah? Like, for example, you need 12 oranges to cook 4 glasses of juice. And this is the division. How many oranges do you need for 8 the same glasses? And it's a multiplication. Like they are simple word problems, but they all will contain division and multiplication, or multiplication and division. And I love this idea. I don't know how well kids can do it, but this is my favorite. For example, there is a problem, and you have to make a question to this problem. And again, this is from a Ukrainian textbook in math. I think it's difficult for the kids of the 3rd grade, but probably they can do it in Ukrainian. Yeah? But this is a fun task when I first saw it, I was amazed. When Anya showed it to me, I said, wow, like it will take me some time to ask a question. Yeah, so, but you can ask lots of questions here. One adult cat, one adult cat eats 14 packets of cat food each week. So can you think of the question?
No.
How many packets does he eat every month?
Absolutely, absolutely. Or a day.
Every day. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, or a day. Or how many packets does he need for like 10 days? Yeah.
Has he eaten when he's 3 years old?
Yeah, so lots of questions, imagine. And this task will bring your kids to the thinking moment. Yeah, to think. So probably. Okay.
First, I read this absolutely another. One adult, I thought it is a person, like a man, can eat 14 packets of cat food, and that's why I thought cat was so angry that people eat.
Seriously, yeah,
And
lots
only
of
then I read
comments.
one adult cat. I don't know, adult can eat.
Maybe
Yes,
they
I also first read adult can eat.
Yeah.
I need the doctor. I don't
They may be
know.
very small packets. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's very hot. Today, so Serежа is hot too.
Maybe I want to eat some cat's food.
You want to cool, to be cool.
Yeah.
I see. Thank you. Yeah, okay. So, and these were the new words, like that was the new vocabulary. And now let's look at the already existing book. The book looks like this. You have it in your Google Drive. Here are the main like words, the main vocabulary. And the book will focus on, again, that is the revision of multiplication, then time, and like I made these problems myself, so maybe they are not very clever problems. You will look through and decide if they are good or not. So some problems I took from the internet and they're connected again with the topics, which we won't do this time. Yeah, so then days in a month, then time, then measurements, then fractions. We start doing fractions and lots of interesting tasks connected with temperature, so they all are from Salamander Math. And here again, measurements, grams, milligrams, ton, and kilograms. So, and these tasks are my favorite. I love them, like when you have to imagine a bike, for example, is it 8 grams or 8 kilograms? A baseball, yeah, and so on. So lots of like, or iPhone 6 or baby, newborn. So, and these tasks, they make kids think. You will see that they're really difficult for the kids. Then you have to choose a measure. Yeah, then we do volume, then length. Like last time we talked about all these measurements, and here there are lots of measurements. Then we do money. Then money again. Then after we review topics city and transport, we can do the length or the height of the buildings. Yeah. So the tallest building, again, fractions. So then dinosaurs and how long each dinosaur was. So then fish speed, it's already speed. enter the perimeter. We go back to the perimeter, plus fractions, plus again problem solving, fractions again, yeah, and finally we end up with place value, fractions they are, this Anya said, these are impossible, they are very difficult. So these fractions are not good. But we need, no, these are good. They are equivalent fractions, yeah? So you will need to spot where these fractions are difficult. Yeah, she said they are unable to do this. Yeah, page 38 is really difficult. No, this is no. Yeah, so then again, fractions and naming quadrilaterals and so on and so forth. So that was actually, that was the book that we have developed in Interclass, and we used it last year and we used it this year. It's not bad, but it's not perfect. And your task will be to look through this book and to decide which tasks are improper. Because I already know which tasks are difficult and which tasks won't work. And I'll give you hint number one. The tasks which really don't work are this, guess the number. Each unit starts with them, yeah? Subtract, then add, then divide, add, you get, what number am I? No. No. These tasks are really difficult for the kids of the third grade. And we tried already for 2 years, and this year it didn't work again. So probably we'll have to think about something else connected with this task. And
Marina, I'm sorry, but as I know, in school they usually practice such tasks. And they
sorry, Ludmila, again.
At school, they usually practice such tasks, and they call as oral dictations or math dictations and so on. So, as I know in Ukrainian.
Yeah, and we need to have them, but I suggest to make them easier, because too many math operations, divide, multiply, add, maybe we can make them easier. Like I'm an even number bigger than 10, but smaller than something. Yeah.
It should be maybe with one operation, like
or at least
multiplication.
Two. Or at least two. If we have like 5 operations, these tasks are not for
add 5 and
yeah, just like something easy. I am an odd number between something and something. That's already a great task. Yeah, so those tasks, they are really necessary. They are necessary for mental math, and they are very necessary for kids thinking in English. But the tasks that we have in that book, they are maybe for the 4th grade or even for the 5th grade. So I just have, because last year I thought that it was our first year and the teachers just didn't do it properly. This year showed that it's not the teacher's fault. Yeah, so it's just kids can't get the tasks. They're difficult. So we may leave them for the 4th grade, and for the 4th grade, they will be good enough. Yeah, but not for the 3rd grade, absolutely. Yeah? So, and also you will have a great book by our British friends. Yeah. So not by, so this is a book from Britain. You will have all this part there. It will be called British books. and you will just look through the first one. Don't do all the books. The first one is the only one we really need. Yeah? And there are lots of great tasks. And some tasks, some tasks are really good. Like a bookcase has 3 shelves, on the middle shelf, so. Like this is a great task. And I saw how kids do it. They can do it with some help, but they can. So, and that will be the British book. And I will also ask you to go through the British book. And now let's round our task to what we are going to do. Yeah? So now we'll divide into just 3 groups. Why 3 groups? Because I really want you to learn more about each other and to get to know other people. And I think 3 groups will be enough. So, and that will help us to look, that will help us to connect. Yeah. So, and that will help us to see each other next time so that these 14 people could get acquainted, because I believe that we'll continue working after that. Yeah. So, and you will, in your group, you will have to, just give me a second. I don't know what happened to this slide. No, just it's, you got the same message from me, but this is the copy from the message. I don't know why it's so big. Just give me a second. Okay, okay, so. So this is the copy from the message. First of all, review the topics for this grade. You may watch the video again because some people said that they won't be able to be present today, those active people, or you will have the PowerPoint presentation in your Google Drive. So then there, the Google Drive or in the Google Drive, you will have the materials from the British School. This is the book that I told you about. It's just the first book. If you have time, you may look through the whole pile of materials, but I would recommend just book number 1. It contains everything we need. Like we usually give our kids these books like this, yeah, in A3 format, and the kids go through these books, and that's how we understand that they can cover the material of the British School well. Okay, yeah. So then you will look through the book that we compiled in Interclass. This book is there. This is the book that I have just demonstrated to you. After that, in the groups, you will decide which tasks are irrelevant for grade 3. Yeah? I already gave you a hint that this warming up activities are not good. This first activity is really bad. So let's keep this activity for grade 4, and we can substitute it with something easier. So then after you have looked already through the British book, and probably you will find some interesting tasks that may be interesting for our kids. Just decide and tell that I would recommend this task. I will suggest this task because some tasks are amazing. And you will develop by yourself or find online some warming up activities. When I say some, I mean just 1, 2, 3, not many. 5 relevant worksheets. I mean that the topics that I have presented to you, rounding, then fractions, measurements, division of the perimeter, and something else. So not all of them are in the book. So maybe you will find 5 relevant worksheets. I meant 5 for the group, and the worksheets that will coincide with the topic. And the most difficult task, but I hope you'll cope with it, you will develop 5 word problems using the example that I already gave you. And this example we'll go back to this example right now. Yeah. So usually this is a word problem for 2 math operations, multiplication or division, or 2 multiplications or 2 divisions, like this. So if you have any questions, please ask me.
I have a question.
Come on.
As I understood, we want to discuss decimals in this book, yes?
No. For the 4th year. For the 4th year.
Because I'm puzzled with rounding and decimals and fractions. Should it be connected?
No. Rounding is only for like mental operations. And this year, it's only for mental operations, and it's mostly for subtraction and for the, I will show you how they do the division later, and you will understand why rounding is important. But now not. Just practice rounding up, rounding down, and that will help in addition and subtraction.
Okay. And speaking about fractions, maybe before them we should discuss ordinal numbers.
Absolutely. Yeah, like you look through this table. You will have this table. You will have this table in your just Google Drives as well, and you understand that every time we are studying a new topic, we have to go back and review the topic.
Yes, I think it should be a little review.
Yeah, absolutely. If we have fractions, then we have to do ordinal numbers.
And the last question is about counting a perimeter and maybe area of polygons, maybe the simplest, or it's
yeah. So I thought that area should be also good, but Anya said that they don't count area in Ukrainian math.
But we discuss the measurement like gram, kilogram, liter.
Yeah, but area seems to be so necessary. Yeah, like when we have already counted the perimeter, we have to count area. Yeah, because
at least for square or rectangle.
Next we'll count the capacity. Next we'll count in square liters or in liters or in square meters. Not in square, but you understand, in liters. Yeah, in liters. So I also thought about area, but Anya said they don't have it in Ukrainian schools. And
what?
yeah, but it's natural. It's natural because if they have area now, then we'll count the capacity, like how many liters are there.
Yes, we discuss length and weight. In second grade.
Yeah, like if you find any relevant materials, I think area will be important for them.
Okay, I'll try. Thank you.
My pleasure. More questions? No? No?
No.
I am still proud that you understand what I'm talking about. It's just like the biggest pride, yeah, that it's not that I feel that all teachers of English don't know math, but
We'll have questions, but later.
but still. Okay, so then do you feel that next Thursday that will be good to meet? It will be enough time? Yeah, I also think so. Because now you won't have to develop the whole pack of materials. You will just have to read and to discuss. And that will be, the same task will be for the fourth grade as well. We'll have the book and you will go through the book, you will read and you will discuss. And that will make it a bit easier than developing materials. Because actually, as I already mentioned, developing materials was mainly aimed at developing your vocabulary. Yeah? So now you have this vocabulary, this math vocabulary, and you can already go through the materials. And I don't think you will really assess them because no one can really do it, but at least evaluate them a bit. Okay.
Okay.
Is it hot in your areas?
Yeah.
Oh,
Not really, just warm.
Hot.
It's summer actually.
It's so hot here. Yeah. Okay. I wish you cooler weather and see you next Thursday.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. See you.
Thank you. Goodbye.